This is Leslie Salazar-Carrillo with I'm Waiting. We've been talking about the struggles teens face today, especially with their identity, who they are, and where they fit in. But tune in now and hear about the victories the students are having that we don't often hear about. Our whole lives, our identity is challenged. You and I could sit here and say, yeah, there are times when I'm like, wow, really, who am I? Like you were saying, I was an athlete. In fact, I'm nursing an old softball injury and laying down that I will never play softball again. And I played for 30 years.
Yeah.
And like, oh, I can't even say I'm a softball player anymore. But that we do identify with those things. But especially for men, because that foundation has to translate into marriage someday and being the head of their family. And, in who you are at 17 is so different than who you are at 30.
Yes.
Are you even 30 yet?
Oh, I'll be 35 tomorrow. So
Oh.
there you go.
Oh, happy birthday.
Yes, thank you.
I just think everybody's way younger than I am, which you are.
And again, flattery will get you out. So, perfect.
Jefferson and I are the same age, I think. So we're looking at the back nine now of life.
There you go.
So, but and we have. We're living in a world right now that wants to strip away gender. I was just reading an article about, I think it was Princeton, wants to get rid of all gender. They're making up new words so that it's gender neutral. And when I'm in the schools, I have to address that. I speak in a very gender neutral, because our thing is we want to educate all kids and not alienate them.
Absolutely.
I need to love them exactly where they're at.
That's right.
And you do the exact same thing.
Yes.
But I think with so much that's going on in the schools and so much what's going on in our world, I just think that everybody, teens especially, are like, it's the age of question. Who am I?
Right.
And why am I here? And how do I fit in?
Yeah.
What is my identity? And so, but in that, so that's their biggest struggle. Where do you see their biggest victories right now? Because I meet kids all the time that are having great victories, whether they know the Lord or not. I may meet them as a freshman, and when I come back to their school and I catch them again, I'll let them know I'm on campus, hey, I'm going to be there, and they'll come by and see me. Totally different kid. I speak in probation schools, so sometimes I see them turn around.
Sure.
And those are I didn't really have anything to do with it, but, just somebody took a minute to pour into them, maybe for 5 minutes for me on a long term. So where do you see that their victories are coming from?
Yeah, I think that it's kind of interesting. I feel like in a lot of ways, being a follower of Jesus, we're getting backed into a corner culturally. And some people are laying down and just taking it and waiting to punch their ticket when they're done here. But there's a lot of other ones who are willing to come fighting out of the corner, and in the sense that it's kind of a countercultural thing right now. And some kids and some teachers and coaches, they are about that. They are okay not being in the majority because they know, again, where their identity is. So I think while culturally we are getting beat back by a variety of things on campus, even more restricted than ever. But praise God, we're still on campus, which is amazing. I think the nucleus of who these kids are is strong as it's ever been. And I think it's not just because they've got a great youth group, while there are many amazing churches around here. They are taking the time to understand for themselves who is Jesus, not because someone told them. And then the other thing I think has been extremely successful is churches, and particularly youth groups, have spent a lot more time focusing on apologetics and truly being able to help equip the kids, for those that are ready to hear it and apply it, with conversational aspects. I'd mentioned to you before we started that often my impression of, don't have sex before you're married, don't do drugs, don't do alcohol, is the equivalent of a giant red button. Just don't press it. Okay? It's going to stare at you. Just don't press it. And that was it. And that was faith to me. And it's like, that doesn't work. I was a good kid, quote unquote, but that doesn't work. That's not a conversation.
Yeah.
And so I'm seeing a lot of these kids take the time to figure out, how can I be just an awesome, normal person and have conversations with people. And that is a great victory in itself, because for a lot of time, the Christian kid on a campus might be the quirky kid, or a little bit different. You don't see it be the quarterback or the point guard or these prominent people or ASB president. But all those specific roles on a campus, they run the campus. Everybody knows who those kids are. And we have a lot of kids who are in those positions now who are proclaiming Jesus and not just being a part of what we do, but helping organize it. And that's influence. Like, hey, I'm a normal person. I love football too.
Yeah.
I love basketball too. I love cheerleading and all these different roles. And that is helping a ton, because they're showing them like, hey, we still have a ton of fun on the weekend. Oh yeah, we don't drink, but we have a ton of fun on the weekend, and just showing them different ways to live. And so the victories in that have been massive. And that's where we've seen people so open to then when we present the gospel, because they're doing all the hard work.
Yeah.
They're laying the groundwork of friendship and relationship. And so their hearts are ready, and those people are asking questions, and then, it's all God's show anyway. We just get to help bring it along. So
yeah, because I was in youth ministry for years, and I quoted 1 Peter 2:9 to them all the time. You are a chosen generation. And when they own that, when they realize that they are a royal priesthood, that they, and this is just something that's really heavy on my heart recently, is just being Jesus in the practical, and saying, I am a real sinner and I have real struggles, but that doesn't change because I know Jesus. It just, I know who to go to. And when we show people, I think Jesus in it's not what I can do and what I can't do. It's what I choose not to do, because he has shown me this is what I want to protect you from. And that's obviously in the schools, we can't say this, but when we cover the emotional and the relational aspects of sexual activity, we're not here to suck the fun out of your life. We're here to say that this has a lot of consequences.
Yes.
Are you ready? And it's not just don't do this, because that never works. Scare tactics never work. Reality works.
Yes.
And I think for these youth, when they show people like, I'm not judging you, God loves me as a sinner, and I'm going to love you. Yeah. It doesn't matter, what you're dressed as, who you are, what you ascribe to, what you did last night, last week, because that's not how Jesus loved. And so that's not how I love. At PRC, and because you've, been around us, every woman that walks through our door is treated with dignity, respect, and honor.
That's right.
It doesn't matter what got her there. That's how she's going to be treated. Because we serve the one that treated everybody like that. Because as a sinner, I've been in some very undignified circumstances, especially before I knew the Lord.
Yeah.
But it took people coming alongside and saying, you are so much more than this. New identity.
That's right.
How do you see yourself? Because this is how he sees you. And just loving them, coming and sitting under that tree with them and hearing what their culture is like. Because being on a high school campus, there is a lot of culture. It is a mission field.
Yeah.
For sure. You guys are in the total mission life, because you're dealing with a lot of different cultures and a lot of different belief systems.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I look at a lot of these schools have over 3,000 kids that I serve on, and you get to know one kid, and you get to know their story and what they're through, and just family dynamics, and you go, that's just one of 3,000.
Yeah.
And there's so many stories out there. And to go back to your 1 Peter reference, so shout out to Pastor Abel Mendez here in Oceanside, who's also a friend of this group, and he talks about it often on campus when he comes on and shares at some of these Bible studies. He goes, you are a chosen generation. He goes, and I want you to think about something. You're not here by mistake. This time in history, this part of the world, and it's a pretty crazy world right now. So think of how much Jesus thinks of you to give you the opportunity to live for him now. And I think that has radically challenged a lot of the kids here, and really just citizens of the community, because it can be pretty easy to throw a pity party based on all the things we see or don't see, or, the laws are changing, and, like God didn't know that was going to happen. And he can equip us for that, and he is equipping us for that. And so, again, that's fun to see the victory in that, going, okay, God's not surprised. He's still on the throne. What are we going to do? How are we going to respond to this? And people are taking the gifts and skills they've been given and they're doing it. And it's an amazing thing to watch, because I was the kid who was pretty equipped to do that, never came close. And so in a lot of ways, I go look for me on a campus.
Yeah.
You know, who's a kid who could maybe be a little more of an influence maker if we could, you know, get them to understand who they are and what they could do. Now that comes through the kids, of course, but I try to encourage them to go find me.
We've been listening to how Matt is equipping students to step out and go find the kids that are struggling with who they are and where they fit in, and showing them where their identity really comes from. Matt came from a place that equipped him, but didn't necessarily give him the strength to proceed. Today, Matt is standing in this gap. We hope you continue to tune in and hear how he's not only equipping, but giving students the courage to step out.